to look at Introduction to Perspective by David Finch. I've been avoiding perspective for a very long time, and today I'm going to take my time to actually, well, sort of learn it or just get an introduction into the entire subject. Why the hell is my network not working? So I'm just going to find the video now. Let's see, David Finch. David Finch. Introduction to Perspective. All right, there the video is. All right, I'm going to start from the beginning, and let me see. Let me make it a bit more brighter. Hello, Shaki. How are you? How are you? How are you? What's hi? How are you? How are you doing today? Tomorrow? Anyways, I have this book called Perspective Made Easy by Ernest R. Nolan, and I just have it to the side, in case I want to be sketching something whilst he talks. So I'm just going to have something that I'm going to be looking at. How's your day been, Shaki? How's your day? Let's get stuck in. So the first thing that we need to discuss is the horizon line. Simply put, the horizon line is your eye level. I'll go ahead and line this up and put my horizon just about in the center of this picture, just about there. And you can imagine that if you're looking into the picture, your head would be just about here. Your head would be here, and your eyes would line up perfectly with that horizon. Ah, chum. Can't believe I have to organize stuff. All right, let's do something. You're not bad. Yeah, I like that response. Life is a bit lukewarm. Yeah, I feel you. I know how it is. I know the feeling. Let me duplicate this stuff over and over so that I can be able to do what he has here. Let's make one more. Anyways, uh, hope your day was a bit productive, Shaki. Come on, man. Look at how quickly you just did that. Just about there. And you can imagine that if you're looking into the picture, your head would be just about here. Your head would be here, and your eyes would line up perfectly with that horizon. And if it's helpful, you can also think of a horizon as a camera level. If I just draw a simple shape for a camera, the level of the camera is going to always be on the horizon. Now, it's important to know the equation between a horizon. Also think of a horizon as a camera. All right, so horizon line equals eye level. Got it. Let's practice the stuff that he has over here, and let's see. Horizon line equals eye level or camera angle of view. All right, so we divide this into two.
in the middle. Then we do some sketching. I'm not I'm not going to detail mine the way he does his, but I'm just going to put my guy over here like this. I already know how to draw a head. I don't need to prove anything.
Your head would be here, and your eyes would line up perfectly with that horizon. And if it's helpful, you can also think of a horizon as a camera level. I just draw a simple shape for a camera. The level of the camera is going to always be on the horizon. Now, it's important to know that you can control your horizon by how high or how low you place your camera. And so I'm going to put a camera here, directly facing our cube. I'm going to put a camera above, pointing down at our cube, and I'm going to put camera below, pointing up at our cube. And so the horizon for this camera is right here. The horizon for this camera doesn't go like this. It stays at the level of the camera. So the horizon would be here, and the horizon for the camera below would be here. And this one is looking at the cube here. So it would see this front, and it would see the top. And this one is pointing here, and so it would see this front and the bottom. Whereas this one would just see the front. And so to show that, I'm going to go ahead and draw those out so you can really see how that looks in action. Again, I'm going to draw my horizon right down the center for the next one. And as a result, my cube is just going to be placed right here. I'm looking directly at the front of that cube. And it's not going to be a perfect cube. It's going to be about as close as I can get, just estimating it for this video. There we go, mostly a cube. And so that is our cube, looking directly at it with the camera on our horizon line. For this next example, I'm going to place my camera above my cube. So I'm going to put my horizon well above my panel. And so I'm going to draw my cube again. And I'm going to have a perspective point going into the distance. And we'll talk about that more later. But for now, I just want to show some quick examples of how moving your horizon will affect your view of an object. There's a cube drawn from the top, and so we're seeing the top of the cube, and this is the front. This is the front here. And our camera would really be placed directly above here and pointed downward. And based on how I've drawn that, I've drawn it below my horizon line. Let's fix that. So here's my camera lines right on the horizon and the body of the camera. Imagine that's a camera. There you go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another horizon. Center of our picture again. We're close enough to the center. It's a little high. And now we need to talk about vanishing points. The closer things are to us, the larger they appear. And since they get smaller the farther away they are, we need a mechanism to represent that. That's where vanishing points come in. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw a vanishing point directly in the center right here. I'm going to sketch in a road going all the way up to the vanishing point, like this. And so let me clean that up just a little bit. And I'm going to draw a sign. I'm just going to freehand this. I'm going to draw a sign just about here. The top of the sign is actually at eye level. I'm going to draw a telephone pole just about here. And if I run a line through that hole, I want to make sure that these all line up. I'm going to draw several of them along this side. I'm going to draw another pole, and this one can be placed wherever I want. For the next pole, what I'm going to do is draw from this point here to the center, and that will decide for me where my next pole will line up. And it's going to line up right there. I'll place another pole here. I start here again. Through, I'll place another pole here. There's another one. There's another one there. Draw a line through here. That's going to define my next pole here. We'll cover measuring more in detail later on. But for now, all I really want to do is show a very, very simple example of elements in a picture receding to a perspective point, the distance. And for a picture like this, it's very easy to see where my horizon is and where my perspective point.
Usually, whenever I'm watching videos like this, I would pause the video and just give like a bit of commentary based on like my past knowledge or my previous knowledge or like what I understand about like perspective or whatever. In this video, I'm not talking shit. I'm just going to be quiet, listen, and try to comprehend what he's talking about because I know very little about perspective. Usually, when I do perspective, I'm just doing guesswork. So, like I'm new. I would say I'm relatively new to perspective. If I'm like 65 over 100 in terms of understanding anatomy, in terms of understanding perspective, I'm like 8 out of 100. I'll say. So I have a very long way to go.
Is that everything was receding to. But it's very, very rare that you have elements of a picture that recede all the way to a horizon and to a perspective point. And so I'm going to show you an example by placing my horizon in the picture. I'm going to place a perspective point here. And I'm going to start to use that to place some boxes on you. Go ahead and sketch those in. I've got a box here. I'm going to put another one here. Just use my ruler to clean this up a bit. I'm going to put another larger box up here. I'm going to put a box here. This will be behind this one, so it needs to be pushed to the back. Go ahead and erase my horizon behind that box. I don't want it to interfere. And place another box here. And I'm just randomly putting these into the picture just to fill out the space. And my final box is going to go here. So in this example, we have the same horizon line and the same point, and everything is reacting to that point in the same way, but we can't see our horizon or our perspective point, and you can see them kind of sketched in here. I lightened it down; they're still visible. But for a picture like this, the horizon and the perspective point are actually obscured by objects in the picture, and this is much more common. But it's important to be able to find that horizon and find that point. And really, the easiest way to do that is to take elements in a picture, like this angle here and this angle here, and that'll give me a point. And where that point rests is where my horizon sits, because that perspective point always needs to be on the horizon. This video is brought to you by Common, and that'll give me a point.
Let me catch up. Guys, if you guys are interested in the video is in the link in the description, so you can easily find the video and just do this study and watch the video yourself if you're interested. All right, I think I'm getting the gist. But this is just 1 point perspective, by the way. Just 1 point perspective.
Is where my horizon sits, because that perspective point always needs to be on the horizon. This video is brought to you by Comics on Coffee. Comics on Coffee has coffee in comic shops all across the U.S. It's a great way to support your local comic shop and get some organic and natural process, direct trade, incredible coffee, while you're picking up the latest issue of your favorite comic. And they've partnered with indie publishers like Scout Comics and Black Cat and have custom bags made with their titles on the cover. They also offer a great subscription service, automatic deliveries, easy to make changes, and you can skip or cancel at any time. And you can get a ceramic mug handmade in the U.S. This one's currently sold out, but they have more coming. There's a link in the description, so head on over to comicsoncoffee.com and use discount code David Finch for 15% off of any order. My comics and coffee today. You don't even drink coffee. Now we're going to go ahead and take what we've learned so far, and we're going to move our horizon above our scene, looking down at it, in this example, and then we'll move our horizon below in this next panel. Actually, we'll do it here, so it doesn't reflect in this panel below. And so this will be our horizon for this panel. So I'm going to go ahead and place my perspective point right here. And to make my life easier, I'm going to do this in a way that I would be far more likely to actually work. I'm just going to quickly make myself a perspective grid. Drawing out perspective for each individual line as I go is an incredibly difficult way to do perspective. And it's something that I don't see described often enough. The advantage of just drawing out a grid like this, establishing all your perspective, and then drawing what you need on top of it. And I try to be as accurate to that point as I can. You can see that I converged here, so it's not perfect. And now I'm going to draw some vertical and horizontal lines. Everything is directly facing us and flat to the camera. So I can place all of my lines horizontally and then vertically because everything is standing directly upright. And so from here, it makes it very easy for me to accurately draw my box shapes in this space. It's much quicker and more efficient for me to draw this way. And I can always go back in here and clean this up just a little bit if I feel the need. And I want you to notice.
Oh, come on, man. I just put my head down for a minute and finished everything. Bruh. Let me erase some part of this. All right. This where my, what do they call it? This is one of my the greatest banes of my existence in terms of my artistic journey. I've never like properly sat down to study perspective like intentionally. So it's going to be a bit of a ride. There's going to be a lot of growing pains, and I'm going to be lost more often than not. And that's what learning is all about. And then eventually I'll get so good at it that, I could teach it. It's just like a game. All right. So, what do they call it? Horizontal lines. Of course, I have some horizontal lines over here digitally that can guide me, but I still want to go through the some of the annoying work that goes in making a perspective grid. Come on, man. It's futile. Futile efforts. Don't like what I did there. Ah, come on. It's so difficult. Yeah, and that's why they call it a skill because you actually take your time to develop it. Of course, it might come naturally to you. You might have the aptitude for it, but you still have to work for it, regardless.
So I can place all of my lines horizontally and then vertically because everything is standing directly upright. And so from here, it makes it very easy for me to accurately draw my box shapes in this space.
Yeah, I think I might need to separate that. Reduce this a little bit. And yeah, let's draw.
Much quicker and more efficient for me to draw this way. And I can always go back in here and clean this up just a little bit if I feel the need. And I want you to notice, this is very, very important, that I'm seeing a large space here going into the panel. But here, this space is very, very narrow. Because things get larger as they come closer, this space also gets larger too. And as it gets further away, it gets much, much smaller until you almost see none of it. And so the closer you get to your perspective point, the smaller things get, but also the more narrow they get dimensionally. And this can be worked out mathematically. I showed a quick example of that with my telephone poles, but it's very important that you just develop a feel for this because.
Yeah, let me quickly pause that before it changes real quick. The perspective grid I see now, it guides you and just helps you out. And this is another box, but we're just going to have to, we're going to see just the top view of the box. Another of the box here. Huh. I have another box over here. One more box way in the distance. And another one. You could ideally push it like this. Okay. Yeah.
It's something that you need to be able to put into practice quickly and easily while you're drawing panels. And so for this next example, I'm going to draw my point directly in the center again, and now we're going to be looking up into the panel. And I've actually changed my mind because if I do this, I'm just going to end up with the opposite of this. And so what I'm going to do is for this one, I'm going to lie on the floor, or imagine that I'm lying on the floor, and this would be the floor of my picture. And I'm going to put my perspective point directly on the floor. So that's the camera right on the floor, looking up into the picture. And let me get my perspective work in from there.
Let's see what he's going to do. Okay. I don't understand what he meant by that or like the plan that he has, but I'll just follow along. Hopefully this doesn't take me forever.
Just because if I do that, I end up with a ball of darkness right there that's really useless to use. And so I always stop just before. I did that a couple of times before I really figured out what a mess I was giving myself to deal with. And it made it really difficult for me to actually even see where my point was. And so I always just stop just before. And so I've got my grid all drawn in from my perspective point that's right here. My horizon is directly at the bottom of my frame.
Okay. Didn't know that. Let's try and do that. Okay. Okay. Hopefully I get this right. You know what? Actually, let's just get one side right and then duplicate the other. Of course, there's going to be like a grid as well. Why am I making mine so much? Looking a mess. All right, what I'll just do for the horizontal lines so I don't waste time is that let me just duplicate this and flip this. Okay. Yeah, I think this is good. I'm going to just edit my canvas because I usually have grid lines on my canvas. I'm going to edit my canvas. Where is it? Edit drawing guide. And I'm going to add a lot of grid lines. I don't know if you can see that. Let me increase the opacity so that you can see it. Can you see it? Let me increase the thickness. Can you see it? I have some grid lines. Usually I put them very faint so that they sort of don't interrupt my drawing. Over here, I'm just going to add a little bit more grid lines. You can see them here. Increase the amount of grid lines I have. And just the opacity, I'll just reduce it a tad bit. But I'll make it a bit more visible. So that is very useful. If you have that, you can work with that. Okay, let's hear what he's saying.
And so if I draw a cube, it's going to be flat at the bottom, and you're going to see it recede to that perspective point at the top.
Oh, like a skyscraper?
You'll notice that there's actually no perspective at all that you see. You just see the box because perspective lines go inward toward that point. And because this is so far away, and because I'm so close to the point, I get very, very narrow here. Generally speaking, the further you are away from the point, the wider you get. The closer you are to that point, you can be very, very narrow. Otherwise, things start to look very distorted. And if I wanted to draw a box floating in the ceiling or floating in the air, it'd be very easy for me to go ahead and do that. Just draw a box. It's up in the air. And I'm just using the point, I'm just using the lines that are already previously established. So it makes it nice and neat, simple for me to go ahead and do that. And so that is a match.
All right. Just wait for me to catch up, will ya? This is a fun exercise. No cap on God, bro. Probably because it's just one perspective, 1 point perspective. I think he's going to do more, and then I'm going to actually really hate ever knowing the word perspective. Probably. Hopefully not. All right, we have this goes down straight. We'll have another one here, building. Then move this one down, following our grid. Our grid over here goes down a bit. Huh. All right, I think that's good. Wow, look at all that perspective line so that I could just get this accurate. If I remove the perspective line, look how clean it is. I like it.
Getting that we are laying on the floor, and this would be our head level here. And we're laying on the floor looking into the scene. And for this one here, our head is here. And we can imagine that we're floating above the scene and we're looking at it from above. And so that's great. We've established a horizon line, we've established a perspective point, and we've drawn some objects receding toward that point. But not every object that we see, as a matter of fact, most objects that we see aren't directly facing us in the way that these boxes are. So we really need more options than just one vanishing point, and that's going to lead us to two-point perspective. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my horizon line directly in the center of this next panel. It's important to note that not only is there always a horizon line in every picture, but it's one continuous line that really goes to infinity. We don't need to draw infinity, but in this case, I think it would be helpful for me to draw just outside the panel. So I don't want points that are too close together like this, because that can start to lead to some major distortions. And we'll cover that. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure to put one point outside of the picture and the other point just outside the picture here.
Let me catch up. I'm just trying to sort my own situation out. I don't have a ruler, so I'm just going to walk like this. All right, let's see. Vanishing point is outside of the canvas. Yeah, this is one thing that has always scared me. I was reading a manga about a manga artist. Well, it's a manga about a manga, very meta, about a manga artist that he was like a copycat or something like that, a copycat manga artist, like a chameleon manga artist, something like that. And they were talking about perspective, like one of the fundamentals in the manga. And what they mentioned was like one of the perspective that the mangaka was doing. Like I think he was working in a wrong perspective, and then all of a sudden, like the mangaka stood up, like the master mangaka, not the assistant. He stood up, walked over to the edge of the room, and he then pointed that area and said that was like the vanishing point of what the artist was actually drawing. And so he would have to like measure the, I don't know, perspective grid from that point, because it's stretching outside of the like canvas that the artist had. So that was a bit confusing, but it was like it was kind of scary, to be fair.
So I'm going to go ahead and draw a cube here, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did in my past examples. I'm just going to draw a few guidelines for myself. I find it extraordinarily difficult to just try to line up perspectives with one element. And so whenever I need perspective, I always just quickly go ahead and do this. It does not take long to do this. And it makes drawing my perspective far easier, much more personal. I'm not going to need horizontal lines now.
I'm going to just draw my perspective. Give me a moment to catch up. Hmm. That's I think that should be enough. That should be enough. Then I have to do it the other way. So okay, I think I know what to do. I think I know what to do. I'm going to duplicate this. We're going to duplicate this vertically. Yep, it works. And horizontally, instead of wasting my time. Yep, that works. That works. That works very, very well. All right, grid lines established. I'm going to make it faint, and then I'll try to draw on it. I like drawing with this pen, so
my object isn't lined up. So the front side, if I imagine this is the front here, my front side now is angled away from us and it's getting smaller toward this point. But I will need some vertical lines to work with. And now I can very quickly just sketch in a few. too long on this side. This cube is pretty well even between these 2 points, and so it should really be just about the same size on either side. So let me go ahead and clean that up a little bit. Whenever I get even just a little bit longer, I find my lines can start to get a little bit floppy. You can see I've come off here. I want to go ahead and draw a cube over here. And so I've got these lines going toward this side. This side now is going to be shorter than this side because there's a much greater distance to this point than there is to this point. And so this is receding much faster. And the reverse is true if I draw a cube over here. This is going to be quite a bit wider than what I get over here because this is receding much faster toward this point. And so that's a 2 point.
Yo, don't go already.
You can see
That looks very nice. Perspective, once you get it right, it's like you have, you know how like in Naruto, or like Naruto for instance, and there's this like different spatial techniques and abilities. Like once your, what I call it, your Sharingan keeps upgrading. That's just how this perspective stuff is. You just you just feel like an advanced artist. Same thing with like gaming, when like you keep going further in a game, and um you see, you keep going further in the game, and the further you go, the better you are. Look how much it just guides you. Yeah, even if you're a terrible artist, with just common sense, it will just guide you to get what you want to get. So nice. Let's push this guy over here like this. Let's push him. It's going to be a taller, it's a taller box. Let's make it a taller box. So what does that mean? Wait, let me make it this size. Hmm. That's nice. That looks really good. I like this stuff. Look how clean that looks. Even though it's not looking like his exactly, but let's make it like his. Yeah. Let's just let's just make it. Let's just make it like his own. Let's just make it a little bit better. Don't have to follow the grids. You just be somewhere close. That's really nice. This is good for, I think, when you're drawing like streets. Oh, I mean, they're all good for drawing streets and stuff.
if I look at a cube in my hand, if I turn it directly toward myself, it's flat. If I turn it, now I need 2 points because it's getting smaller as it goes away from me here, and getting smaller as it goes away from me here. And that's all we have here. And so now I've drawn a horizon line above this panel here, the same way that I did here. But I'm going to use two perspective ones. I'm going to put one out here and one here. These aren't exactly even, but you can place these however you want. They just need to be far enough apart that you won't end up with distortions. So I've drawn a grid based on my horizon or eye level.
Jesus, man. I guess this is where I start becoming confused. Okay, let's walk it. How the hell can't I see the history of the homage? Okay, let's place it. One is on the far end here, another is on the far end here. I don't have enough space. So I guess this is the horizon line. I guess that's what he meant. Right. So just need to get one part really good. Mm. Wow, it's almost an hour, 40 minutes. Been at this for 40 minutes. Hmm. Okay, let's add some more lines. I don't need to, but let's do it. Okay, I'll flip it. I'll select and flip it. Yep. I guess that's the idea. Hopefully I'm right. Hmm.
Being up here, and I've got a point here and a point here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw in some boxes. And so let's just start with a box right away. I'm going to draw another box here. I'm going to draw another one right here. I want to make sure not to end up with a tangent between these two boxes, so I can draw that line in a little bit. Now I'm going to draw this side of the box first. This point is much further away than this one, and so this should be quite a bit shorter. I'm going to draw a tall one here so you can really see really the bottom of it. And side here, another one here, and I can just place these large and small all through the scene very, very quickly, easily, without really having to exert thought. Another one here, and it's actually very freeing once you have this kind of a setup. Seeing just how fast you can populate a whole scene.
Okay, let me do what he's doing. That was an L from me. Hmm. Oh yeah, here's my vertical line. Then there's another one. There's another box over here. Goes down. Okay, what other one? Wow, look at that. That is not easy. From the bottom and from the top. I'm going to have to do a lot of practice. I need a lot of practice. Oh, I needed to push mine a bit further to the left. So that's why mine is it's looking very narrow because the vanishing points are very close to each other. I hope I didn't mess that up. I hope I didn't. I really do. It's looking like I did, you know. It's looking a bit off, I think. Hmm. I mean, I swear, man, this stuff is tricky. Let me remove it and see. It does look a bit weird, I can't lie.
With elements like this, as long as they all line up in the same direction. As I get closer to the horizon, I'm getting much shorter on the top of my thoughts. And so now what this works, this one really doesn't work anywhere near as well. And if you're looking at this thinking, something doesn't quite add up and it doesn't quite look right. That's absolutely true. I said earlier on in the video that as things get closer to us, they get larger, and as they move away, they get smaller. And because we're all the way up here, this is our eye level, as things get further from us this way, they should also be getting smaller because this is much closer to our horizon than this down here. And so I really need to start thinking about three-point perspective. And so we're going to cover that right here.
Yeah, he was right. Like something just felt off the way I was drawing it. Um yeah, let's just see. Just something just fell off. Mm. All right, let's look at the 3 point perspective. This is the most difficult one. Okay. Oh,
I'm going to draw basically the same thing. I've got my horizon just about that high off of my panel. I'm going to just draw right through my previous panel. I'm going to put a point.
I really didn't want to draw above that, but let's see. Let me make a new layer, and I'll just make it. Yeah, let's make it pink. Why not? All right. Really high. Yeah, let's see. Let's see that.
Just about here, right where it was the previous panel, and another point here. So that will all be the same. And so my eye level is here, but I'm looking down into the panel. And so I'm going to imagine that I'm basically standing at about the center of the panel, and this is my head here. Let me just erase some of what's in the way from this previous panel here to make this look more clear. So this would be my eye level here. And because this is where I'm standing, things will get smaller directly away from me. And so I can line up my third point directly downward from where I'm imagining I'm looking at this panel all the way, and I'm going to put it here. Now,
Wow.
I can decide that I'm standing over here, and then my third point would be here. And so let's go ahead and draw my grid and get all of this established. I want to point out I'm not measuring these lines. So the distance between these lines is really just eyeballed, and I'm not worrying about it being accurate at all. It's not important to do it. You can actually get much more precise with perspective if you want. You can make sure that all of these line up perfectly, and it can give you the opportunity to draw a particular size and then use your grid to make that smaller in a really accurate way. But it also is a massive time commitment. You can start to pay really marginal benefits. And so I've got my grid drawn in.
Wow. I'm going to need to take my time to get the grid correctly. Um, he is right about the benefits. It's not much benefits like to draw in the grid that much. But if you're like a beginner, someone like me who's just starting out on perspective and it's not that good at it, yeah, I'm going to take all the time that I need for my brain to properly acclimatize to this new information and absorb it. I'm not gonna rush. Okay, still more. It doesn't mean I'm going to do my best to dilly dally. Perspective, man. Why the hell I gotta be thinking outside the box? Literally, you have to be thinking outside the. Imagine how the 2D creatures would feel. Like they wouldn't even be able to conceive what a three-dimensional world is. Very, very funny. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate that and just put that there. Do I put that there? Ah, nah, I'm just going to put it where like it fits. I put that there, and then there's one more. There's one more. There's one more angle. There's one more angle. I'm going to duplicate this. This is the original one. I'm going to duplicate this and then bring it down. Take it down. Take it down. Yo, this is crazy. Just ended up confusing myself. This is mad. Wow, this is. I don't think I got this right. I don't think I got this right. What I could do is I could expand it. Let me change the color so that I don't run mad. Yep, I'll change it to green. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm doing this thing well. Yo, this is terrible. Jesus. It's so bad. What am I even doing? Anyways, I'm going to leave it like that and well, see if I can work with what I've just created. I've created a monster for real, for real. For real, no cap on God, bro. Let's bring it down a bit more in it. All right, I'm just going to, yeah, I'm scared to fuse them together, but I'll fuse them together. All right, let's.
You see that it looks much more accurate than what I had here. So let me just like this down. And I'll go ahead and draw a similar thing to what I had in the first panel. I've got a block here. And now I'm actually proceeding away from my horizon, which is up here, down toward my third point. And already you have something that is much more accurate looking because it's closest to us here and receding on further away from us this way, and this way.
Oh, it actually works, you know.
I think that's enough to really get the point across. You can see that
Yo, 3 points perspective is the goat, actually. It looked like I was doing rubbish, and here I am, proud of myself. Yeah, that's actually beautiful. Yeah, that's fun. Look how it makes sense. It's just wonderful to see, you know? Look how much sense it makes. Yeah, I got some mosquitoes biting me, you know. Like, look, it's just aiding me everywhere I go. Did I do too much? Okay, I think it's looking so good, you know. So good. Yeah, I have a lot to learn. Have a lot to learn. What else? This guy over here. Bring it down. Bring it bring it down. Some more. Honey. What else? There's another one over here. There's let's see. Ah, I see I made a mistake. Okay, another thing. Oh, wow, that is wonderful, you know. That is. It looks so good, you know. Like, it just looks perfect.
far more accurate looking than what I had here, and that's all through the use of a third perspective point. So a good rule of thumb to bear in mind is that a two-point perspective will work very well if your horizon is along the center of your objects, but if your horizon is above or below your objects, you really want to have a third point so your objects can receive downward from your horizon as well as laterally side to side. Before I discuss anything else, I really want to point out that the same rule applies for this panel as well. Because I've got my horizon well above my seeing, these shapes really should be going down to a third point. You get something a little bit more similar to this. Now this panel here, because I've got my horizon at the bottom of the picture, it's actually really in the frame. Strictly speaking, I can get away with this and make these completely vertical. But I could also, because this is so low in the scene, establish a third point and have those recede to a third point. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about some very common errors that I see in perspective. So I'm going to draw a horizon line. I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 points on my horizon. Draw one here, and we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to work out again another little grid for myself. It just makes everything so much easier. So So I've gone ahead and quickly established it right here, and I'm going to draw a cube, and I'm going to put my cube basically in the center of the picture. This is in a 2-point perspective. And so here's the top of my, this isn't really a cube. And you can see I didn't actually have a line here, but it's close enough to an existing line that I can basically infer it pretty well. And so this one's going to be just about here. And this is a very common problem. I'm getting a lot of distortion once I get to this corner here, and that's because my points are just way too close together.
Yeah.
So the solution to this,
Yeah, that was the problem. That was the exact problem I was having when I was doing when I was working with these guys. Like the distortion was like too crazy. Like it was just so bad. Yeah, and it was because these 2 points were really close that it was just not making sense what I was doing. Even though now that I look at it, I think I know why it's bad. Yo, I was making a mistake. Yo, what was I doing? Christ, man, that is so bad. What am I doing, bruh? I mean, it still looks extra, like very distorted, but that was an L for me. That was that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. No cap on God, bro. Yeah, that was stinky. That was very bad. Let me see if I made any other mistakes. Yeah, I think I was good in everything else. Yeah, everything else is all right. That was just the one that was like really terrible. Yeah. So like expand your vanishing points when doing 2 or 3 points perspective so that it will make sense.
basically just bring your points out much further, and it'll give you a much softer angle, and so you'll avoid this kind of obvious distortion. If we go back to this page here, use this panel to show you an example of another problem that very commonly happens. I'm going to go ahead and just establish my verticals right away, and I'm going to establish my horizon, put it just about here, we'll extend across, and I'm going to put one perspective point here, and work out my perspective from here. And so I'm going to draw the side of my cube right here, just like this. And now, for my other side of my cube, I need to decide where my other perspective point is going to be. And because we've been doing,
And also, one thing I've noticed about using cubes is that when you use cubes like this, and then of course you have your grids, you can use that to place for placement of characters. I think I learned that because I do watch a lot of artist work, and there are times where I just like watch most of these artists work in the background, and I see them use perspective, or maybe they are talking about perspective or other principles that can be very useful or helpful. And I do see them most times, like they use boxes and then they set up their character that they're going to draw. And then they draw those characters inside their boxes and just use those grid lines to break down those characters. Hello, Sleep. How you doing? Yeah, I'm actually studying. He said, boo. You don't want me to improve? How am I going to like charge higher rates for clients if I don't improve? I need to get my money up. How you doing, by the way?
this, you all know that it's going to be right along my horizon line. So here would be a good spot for it. Or maybe just a little bit further to give me a little bit more of a soft angle. So right about there, I think would be a good point for me to finish my cube and everything would work out properly. But if you're not properly aware of the horizon, or even if you are, but you lose track of what you're doing, it's very easy to
Yeah, now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. Exactly.
start placing this in an odd spot. And so I'm going to put it here.
Yeah, I don't want to be in my 30s charging freaking $200 per illustration. We have to get that money up to like, around like 2K, 5K, 10K thereabouts. On average per illustration.
It's not on the horizon. It's so important to remember that all of your perspective points, unless something is tilted in your picture, we'll cover that in the next video. Everything needs to line up on your horizon. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw the other side of my cube from this point.
You don't know how people eat plain chicken, like just like the chicken, like raw. People eat chicken raw, like without like boiling it at least or like stir frying it. Yeah.
And it's not anything like your cube. But and the point is that I'm drawing to one point that I place off of the horizon, which really distorts the form. This is a much more common occurrence than you really think. It just being constantly aware of the fact that your horizon is a continuous line, and unless something is tilted, all of your points need to be on that horizon line. This next example is by far.
Oh, no seasoning or sauce. Yeah, actually, I think chicken to a large extent is it's good, like especially when there's like enough sauce on it. But when it's plain, it's a bit overrated. Like if you eat like goat meat, like if you take goat meat, you don't need much seasoning for goat meat. Like just goat meat like that can actually taste good because it's very flavory on its own.
The most common problem that I see with perspective. So I'm going to draw.
Like I noticed that whenever I have to like eat chicken, and once you just eat it, like even when it's fried, and then you actually have to continuously dip it in sauce, or make it very well seasoned before you enjoy it. Otherwise, like it needs a lot of assistance. Chicken, when you're eating chicken, it needs a lot of assistance. It needs a lot of aid for it to actually taste good. Because on its own, I think it's good. It's like I'll say it's like a 6 out of 10, probably a 5 to be honest. Because even when I eat beef like that, I think beef is actually above chicken. Chicken is just because it's not that common. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's food. I like food. Yeah. You can interrupt me about food anytime. I'm actually done studying. I'm just watching like the end towards the end of the video. If you check out the video is practically done. What the hell, man?
I'm going to draw the side of the block that's proceeding toward my horizon.
Yeah, the video is practically done. It's 23 minutes. I think just 3 minutes remaining. Uh, yeah, I've been around for like an hour and 8 minutes.
And what I've drawn is something that looks obviously very, very now, this would be fine if I was trying.
It's something I'm interested in. Of course, I'll get invested.
Rectangle that from the side is like this. But if I'm imagining that I'm drawing something that from the side is more like this, this is going way too far toward my perspective point. And to really illustrate that, this is actually a Rubik's Cube. So it's a perfect cube. And you can see as I turn.
No hesitation, like no wise. Why is she asking about chicken out of nowhere? Okay, why are you asking about chicken out of nowhere? Did you have chicken today or something? Or like, do you have chicken for dinner? Chicken nuggets. What do they call that organization? Chicken Republic. Yes, Chicken Republic. Or KFC. I don't know which is which.
My perspective point, very, very close. Just about here, or here even. And if I bring it closer.
Wings, yeah? That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I eat any part without complaint. Yeah. But wings are good. Wings are good. But I'm usually always hungry, so any part serves.
You almost cannot even see the side of that cube. And so as I bring it further out at my perspective point, it's further, and I'm kind of estimating this. You can see that it's still substantially shorter here than it is here, and I've got a point that I'm kind of imagining would be all the way just about here. Now I'm guessing this, but it looks about right to me. And so you can see how easy it is to end up with distortion just by drawing this side way too deep. Because this point is so close, I would see very, very little of that side, and so we're going to go ahead and just fix that. Actually, what I'll do is I'll draw the same cube on the other side, and we'll do a process. Make my cube a little shorter so it stays in the panel here. So again, it's not cube. It's an approximation of the cube. All right. And so because I'm so close to that point, I'm going to draw toward it but I want to be very, very narrow. And you can see right away that looks far, far more accurate. And it looks like this side is about the same size as that side, as opposed to this side being miles and miles long versus this side. It's also a common problem with things like tabletops. So if I've got a table here, kind of basically perspective here, and it looks just about right. I'm far enough away from that point. But if I was to do that again, I'm going to shift it over just a little bit here and make the top as wide. It's actually not quite as wide as I did down here. It looks distorted, and really the quick, easy solution for that, because it's so close to that point, makes that very, very short on the top there. And that looks far more accurate off in the distance. All right, that's going to do it for this one. In the next video,
Wow, that was a wonderful video. That was a wonderful study session. Nothing so serious or detailed. Like it said, it's an introduction video. I enjoyed it personally. I got crazy like when I was doing the grid lines and stuff to really establish like the 3 point perspective, the 2 point perspective, and things like that. Just felt like math. And I remember myself when I was doing math in secondary school, and I always failed it. But thankfully, I didn't fail this one. Yeah, I got it one time, so I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. I'm joyful. Yeah. And David Finch is a great and wonderful teacher. So you can check out the video if you're interested in learning about perspective. The video is in the description of this live if anyone is interested. You would watch just the last few seconds. Just the last few seconds, yeah. Okay, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah. Make sure you study your perspective, everyone. Yeah. I'm just learning mine. So hopefully I'll be able to answer questions in the future in case someone wants to inquire about perspective. Anyways, that's it for today. I'll end the stream here. Yo, Sleep, thanks for joining and thanks for hopping in. So I'm going to end the live now so that I can get back to sleep and get proper rest. Very important, very vital, very essential, very crucial, very sacrosanct that you get sleep. Sleep. Yeah. 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 Have a lovely have a very lovely night's rest, everyone.